Wow!
ABC's primetime power soap Dynasty was created to compete with CBS juggernaut Dallas, and while the shows had their similarities, Dynasty really stepped things up in the drama department. By 1985, it became the #1 show in the country during an era when extreme wealth, greed and power were cultural cornerstones. Who can forget the show's impact on the world of fashion? The original show title was just Oil. While Dynasty centered around the oil industry just like Dallas, it was decided to focus more on the family structure rather than on actual business deals. We thought people had seen enough stories where families fell apart. We wanted a strong, 19th century sort of family where people were in conflict but loved each other in spite of everything. We found out that the audience wasn't very interested in the oil workers' stories. The people instead were just fascinated by what was going on inside that castle. The show was progressive in the sense that it featured one of the first primetime gay characters, the character of Stephen Carrington, who was first played by Al Corley and then by Jack Coleman. Jack has said, "My feeling was that I was in kind of a situation where I was expected to be a spokesman. I was never comfortable being a spokesman. It's just the kind of position you end up in when a character is long-running. You not only have to defend the character but the situation to the entire country. Ultimately, I saw Stephen as a man who was unsure of his sexuality and from time to time was attracted to women. He was caught between the worlds." The costume designer Norman Miller came up with the shoulder pad idea. Norman Miller was highly inspired by John Crawford's 1940s attire and worked with a weekly wardrobe budget of $35,000, a fortune in those days. Everything was coordinated. Each dress had its own particular hat, purse, gloves, shoes, and it never varied, said Esther Shapiro. John Crawford didn't mix and match. We decided to take it one step further. Alexis would never wear the same things twice. In fact, no one on Dynasty would. The show had the only African American with a recurring role on a nighttime serial. The show had the only African American with a recurring role in nighttime serial. In season 4, Diane Carroll joined the cast as Dominic Devereux, and she hoped that it would help break through some of the color lines. She said, "They've done everything. They've done incest, homosexuality, murder. I think they are slowly inching their way toward interracial. I want to be wealthy and ruthless. I want to be the first black bitch on television." You could say she was the prototype for Empire's cookie. A show about moneyed people wearing nice things transformed into the public being able to purchase some of the show's glitz. A line of Dynasty merchandise was released, which included $3 pantyhose, $150 Forever Crystal perfume, $500 tuxedos, $800 ball gowns, $10,000 handmade Alexis and Crystal dolls, and a $200,000 chinchilla coat. Crafty fans of the show could also buy Miller's patterns through McCall's Pattern Company and make the fancy dresses themselves. The cast didn't know how the 5th season would end. The final eventually centered around a massacre that took place at a wedding in Moldavia. Don't try to look it up on a map, it's fictional. 60 million people tuned in to see it all unfold, and then they had to wait until the premiere of the 6th season to see which characters survived and which did not. It was Dynasty's version of Who Shot JR. John Collins said, "We had no idea who was going to live or die. None of us knew. Because we knew if you were really blooded up, that was it. Might as well call your agent and say, I need a job." It was very funny, actually. Now be careful, it's spoiler alert. Only 2 minor characters actually beat the dust. The show only won a single Emmy, even though Dynasty was nominated for 24 different Emmy Awards over the years, but the show only ever walked away a winner once. And the winning Emmy? That was for costume design. The iconic lily pad scene was hard to shoot. It was the scene when Crystal and Alexis get into a catfight in the deep lily pond. But in real life it was very shallow and hard to work in. Linda Evans said, "It looked like we were in 6 feet of water, but in reality we were in only 2.5 feet, and fighting on our knees. It felt absurd and we struggled all day to make it look authentic. When at the end of the day the director yelled, 'Cut and print,' we stood up looking like a couple of drowned rats. The crew spontaneously broke out in applause and laughter. John loved the verbal fights. I hated them. I loved the physical confrontations. She loathed them. We did them all for 9 years." Did you used to watch Dynasty religiously? Was it a case of this or Dallas, or did you watch both? Which of the 2 big American shows was the best in your opinion? Let us know all of your thoughts in the comments. And as always, take care, friends.